All right, it's 7 o'clock. Showtime. Hi, folks. Tonight we're covering a very important topic, which is how to create Social Security strategies and why we should consider approaching our Social Security benefits with them in mind. Before we jump into it, I'd like to tell a couple quick stories that I've experienced to drive home the point that why we should be educated on Social Security and how much of a big difference it can make in our lives when we are. First story, I was at a routine meeting with a couple prospective clients about 6 years ago. I sat down with the couple. He was age 70 and she was age 65. He had worked paying nearly the maximum into Social Security for over 40 years, and he'd been collecting his benefits since age 65. She had not worked when she was younger, and she believed that she was not eligible for Social Security benefits at all because of it. So she had started her own cleaning company about 8 years prior to that, with the main goal in mind to pay enough into Social Security over 10 years until she was eligible. Turned out that even if she had paid in for the full 40 quarters or 10 years, her worker benefit would still not have been as much as her spousal benefit was that she was already eligible for prior to ever working at all. And she didn't even know it. I have to tell you, that couple was absolutely stunned when I told them that news. The second story, I sat down with a woman who was a 60-year-old doctor about 4 years ago. She was wondering when the best time was to file for her benefits. She'd asked her accountant before we sat down, and he told her that since she had a 7-figure savings and a 6-figure income, that it really didn't matter when she took it because it would all just be cream on top of everything else she had. So she was going to take his advice and take it at age 62. They both had no idea, her and her accountant, that based on the Social Security rules, she would not only have been penalized her entire benefit for the first 4 years and not received it, but when she did eventually start getting it, it would be reduced 25% for the rest of her life. To say the least, they were both, her and her accountant, unbelievably surprised to find that out. And these are really just a couple of examples of how important it is to know the rules when it comes to filing for your Social Security benefit. And it's even more important is to find out the correct timing on when you and your spouse, if you're married, should take your benefits if you're interested in getting the most money you can from the Social Security system over your lifetime. These are the things that we're going to discuss on this webinar today. First, I'll give you a little bit of history and facts about the Social Security system that most people probably should know. Then we're going to discuss the rules when it comes to not just Social Security system in general, but also each of the individual type of election choices that we all have available to us. Once we do that, we're going to look at some scenarios that could be used for strategies to enhance both a couple's and a single person's Social Security benefits. And in doing so, you're going to be able to see for yourself exactly how much of a difference it can make when implementing a good Social Security strategy. And then finally, we're going to finish up by me offering you a few different packages that I've used to help my clients implement the Social Security strategies that work best for them to achieve their Social Security goals. Before I do that, I want to introduce myself. My name is Brian Dougherty. I'm a financial advisor and a National Social Security Advisor certificate holder, and your host for the workshop tonight, along with my partner in life and business, my beautiful wife, Rachel Dougherty. Say hi, Rachel. She's going to be the moderator for it as well. She'll be overseeing the Q&A and the chat boxes throughout the event. So if you have any issues or questions, she'll be handling all that. Our firm is called PLC Financial Solutions, which is an independent insurance brokerage. And I'm also an investment advisor representative with Fusion Capital Management, located in Dallas, Texas. But our office is located in the Fort Washington, PA area, right overlooking the PA Turnpike. I must say, though, we are super excited to bring you this webinar today because we consider ourselves the Delaware Valley's premier Social Security, Medicare, and long-term care planning specialist. And this is the first webinar covering a topic that we specialize in, of which we've committed to over the next 12 months. We usually hold the webinars on the last Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m. So thank you so much for joining us tonight and being the type of people that wants to better themselves with this type of information and knowledge. I also want to mention that much of this material that we will be covering today has been obtained from the Social Security Consulting LLC website and their nonprofit sister company, the National Social Security Advisors Certificate Program, which is our nation's only accredited Social Security certificate program. And I'd like to mention before the source, and like I mentioned before, the source of my own Social Security Advisor certificate. Before we get started, let's cover some basic housekeeping now. First, you're going to see there's two boxes at the bottom of your screen. If you just hover over your screen and you move your mouse around. For one, one's for chat. It says chat. That's really for comments. And the others says Q&A or questions and answers. We'll be using them accordingly, and we will respond to them in kind. Secondly, I'm sure that some of you will definitely have some questions about the material we'll be covering. But since we have a good bit of material to cover and only an hour to cover it, I'm going to be asking you to put those in the chat and question box, Q&A boxes below. And at the end, we're going to be staying for a few extra minutes to cover as many as we can. And if we don't cover yours, we'll be happy to answer them by email afterwards. Also, I want to make sure that you're all paying attention tonight. And because we'd like you to have some fun as well, before we answer the questions, we have a 10-question quiz we're going to pop on you. Okay? So don't get nervous. It's not that difficult. At the end. And the way it's going to work is this. The first person to answer each question right inside the chat box, not the Q&A box, we're going to use the chat box for this, will win a $10 gift card to a store of your choice. Also, finally, it's my obligation as a financial advisor and a fiduciary to inform you that our RIA's disclaimer statement, which is that our investment advisory services are offered through Fusion Capital Management, like I mentioned before, and an SEC registered investment advisor, and we only transact business in states where we're properly registered or are excluded or exempted from registration requirements. SEC registration is not an endorsement of the firm by the commission and does not mean that our advisors have attained a specific level of skill or ability. And most importantly, all investment strategies have potential for profit or loss. So now that we got that over with, I have one question for you guys. Just one question. Why did the turkey cross the road? Come on, put the answer in the chat box. Let us know if anybody put the answers in the chat box, Rachel. To prove he wasn't a chicken. You may have heard that from me before. I stole that from my son Case He did a show at the Cub Scouts probably 10 years, no, not 10 years ago, probably 7 years ago. And I've been using it ever since. All right. So as you know, our workshop today is called Social Security Strategies. And to get started, let's lay down some groundwork for discussing some facts about the Social Security system. As you can see, 9 out of 10 people age 65 and older are receiving Social Security benefits right now, which of course makes it a very big part of our retirement plans. And that much more important to the plan ahead when it comes to creating a retirement plan. So it's a much more important part of your plan than most people ever really even think. Because the employees at the Social Security Administration, although very well trained, are directly instructed to specifically not give advice when it comes to people's election choices and helping them to make the best choices with them. This means that you have to know what's best for you and your family before you sit to file your claim, whether it's at the SSA office or online, it doesn't matter. Some history related to the Social Security system. Well, it was passed into law in 1935 under Franklin Delano Roosevelt. People actually started receiving it in 1937. The family and survivor benefits were implemented in 1939. It got its first inflation adjustment in 1950, and it was a whopping 77%. But they hadn't gotten a raise in 13 years. The Medicare Act was passed in 1965 under Lyndon Johnson, which started the Medicare program. The first annual automatic cost of living adjustment, also known as the COLA, C-O-L-A, was passed in 1972, but it didn't actually go into effect until 1975. It started being taxed in 1983. Before that, it was not taxed. And that was under President Reagan. The penalty for working while collecting Social Security was eliminated for everyone at their full retirement age and beyond in the year 2000 under President Clinton. And this year, 2001, is Social Security's 86th birthday. Happy birthday, Social Security. Yay, thank goodness we have you. All right, let's discuss some differences in circumstances between what things were like when the fund first started and how things have changed over the years. In 1935, when it was first passed, the average life expectancy was under 60 years old. Most people would not even live long enough to collect the benefit because you couldn't collect it till you were age 65. It was designed really only to be a supplement retirement saving, to supplement your retirement savings. And the worker to retiree ratio was 160 people paying in for every one person taking out of it. The total amount of Social Security benefits paid out in 1937, the first year, was 1.2 million, almost 1.3, but $1.2 million total. What's it like today? Well, the average life expectancy is 82 for a man and 85 for a woman. People can well outlive their retirement savings, making Social Security that much more important and maximizing it. Social Security makes up about 40% of all current retiree income. And this is the most biggest whopper of them all. The worker to retiree ratio today is 2.8 people paying in for every one taken out. Talk about a huge difference. And the total benefits paid out annually in 2019 was over, it was the first time we went over $1 trillion, $1.048 trillion. As compared to when it started, it was 1.2 million. The poverty rate for seniors today, it's gone down 80%. It's more than 80, it's 9.5%. I forgot to even mention that in the last one, the poverty rate for seniors exceeded 50% when it first started. Amazing. So, like I said, let's look at that growth rate of the fund. 1937, like I said, it paid out 1.2 million, finally reached and passed the $1 trillion level in 2019. So here's the breakdown of the percentages of how much was paid out in 2019 between the different types of benefit classifications. As you can see, retirement benefits was over 70% of the claims. Spousal benefits were only 4%. It's theorized that it used to actually be higher, but now there's 2 people working in the average household, and they're collecting 2 worker benefits now. Children's benefits, 6.3%. Widows and widowers benefits, 6.2%. And disabled workers, 13.1%. Let's talk about a really hot topic when it comes to Social Security. Will the benefit be there for us when we retire? A lot of people seem to think that it will not be there. Or a lot of the people I've sat down have really expressed some serious concern whether it was going to be there for the older generation, or even for them for that matter. But here are the facts about it. First of all, the full name of the Social Security Trust Fund, which is nothing more than a big savings account where all of the annual surpluses from the revenues that are paid into our Social Security program since its inception have been saved. The full name is actually the Federal Old Age and Survivors Insurance Trust Fund. In 2019, there was just almost $2.9 trillion in the fund. And they're all made up of U.S. Treasury securities because they're only allowed to hold U.S. Treasury securities, no other types of investments. So that's like UST bills, UST notes, and UST bonds. They all have different lengths or durations in them. Also, it had a $2.5 billion surplus in 2019. I actually looked at the 2020 numbers just the other day. They haven't been out long. I have to update this presentation soon, but it was an even $2 billion in 2020. So even though we had the pandemic and so many people were out of work, it still had a surplus of $2 billion. Here's the problem with the fund. The problem is that it has been projected that the income it receives every year, which comes from 3 main sources right now: Social Security payroll taxes, the income taxes retirees pay on their Social Security benefits, and the interest it collects on those U.S. securities inside the fund. The total of the 3 in 2019 was $1.061 trillion. And here's the breakdown. $945 billion was from the Social Security payroll taxes. So that was the major breadwinner. $36 billion from Social Security income taxes. And $81 billion from the U.S. securities. Now, even though that's a lot of money, at some point soon, it will still not be enough to cover the expenses the fund has, which include all the Social Security benefits paid out every year and the administrative costs related to operating the fund, all of which totaled in 2019 at $1.059 trillion. That little teeny difference between the incomes and expenses was the $2.5 billion surplus. So when the expenses do exceed the income at some point soon, the 2.9 trillion in US securities inside the fund will need to start being liquidated every year, a little bit at a time, in order to pay the expenses that the current three income sources are not going to cover. So, how long is that going to take? That's what everybody wants to know, right? Well, that $2.9 trillion. So as long as it takes that and uses up that whole once it uses up that $2.9 trillion in the fund, which is, like I said, really just a big savings account for a rainy day for the fund, it's estimated to run out somewhere between 2034 and 2035. And since by law, the Social Security system cannot operate in the red and will no longer have a rainy day fund to pull from, the big question then is, what's going to happen to our Social Security benefits then? Well, at that point, the only sources of income going into the fund that will be available to pay our Social Security benefits and the administrative expenses for the fund are the payroll taxes, also known as the FICA tax, and then the income taxes on the Social Security benefits that our retirees are paying every year. It's been estimated that at that point, when that trust fund runs out, only about 79 cents on every dollar promised to people will be available to pay our Social Security benefits. This means, as of now, the worst case scenario is that our Social Security benefits will be reduced by around 21% of what we were expecting to receive. So it will still definitely be there for us, but just won't be collecting. We just won't be collecting as much as we were originally promised and as much as those who came before us received on a dollar-to-dollar basis. So I hope that puts some of you at ease, even though it's still a little disturbing because I'm scheduled to become my full retirement age at age 67 in 2035 when the fund's going to run out. So not very much a laughing matter, but definitely something to think about. Since the Social Security Trust Fund is going to be getting whittled away at over the next 13 or 14 years, there have been many ideas that have been tossed around in Congress to solve the problem before it gets out of hand. Here are the leading considerations. First, move the full retirement age from age 67, because at some point, everybody filing is going to be age 67, to age 70. I don't love that, I'll tell you that, but that's one of them. Second, all earnings would be subject to the Social Security payroll tax. Right now, we're only paying Social Security payroll tax up to $142,800. That's the cap. Every dollar we make above that is not being subject to the tax. So one of the solutions is to just remove the cap and make all income subject to the tax. I'm actually in favor of that one the most. I'll explain why in a minute. The third one is means testing. Could you imagine that? You pay in your whole life and then you got to you got to apply to see if you need it. I think that's a load of crap. I wouldn't be very happy about that, and I don't think most people would. The fourth one is decrease the percentage of the delayed retirement credits. So that's the amount that the benefits get increased if you leave them in to the fund beyond your full retirement age. I don't think most people would be happy about that either. It would derail, I think, a few retirement plans. Fifth is the delay eligibility from age 62. Push it back. Everybody won't be eligible to age 64. Given what life expectancy is today compared to how it was, that's probably one of the more viable solutions. The last one is to reduce the COLA adjustments to using what they call the chain CPI, Consumer Price Index, U index. Currently, it's using the CPI-W, which stands for Worker Index, and that will just lower how much it gets adjusted for inflation. Now, the reason that I'm in favor of the solution that relates to just lifting the cap on the earnings is I was actually listening to a podcast about a month or two ago. Actually, it was a little longer. I've listened to it several times since. It was a Morningstar podcast, and they had a guest on by the name of an economist from Notre Dame originally. Her name was Teresa Ghilarducci. And she said they actually did. She actually was at Notre Dame for 25 years, and now she's what, a think tank, economic think tank. And they said they've done the numbers on it. If that payroll tax cap got lifted, it would not only sustain the benefits at their current level for the next 75 years, but they'd actually also be able to increase the benefit for the lowest 10% income folks that are collecting Social Security, because they're just on the just on the fine line between that and poverty, which I think would be a great idea. So before we get started, let's look at the rules related to Social Security. And here are the four main categories of benefits that are available. You got your retirement benefits, you got your survivor benefits, you got disability benefits and family benefits. Retirement benefits is really your own worker benefit. Survivor benefits really apply to several different family members. We're just going to discuss how they affect spouses in this particular class. We're not really going to discuss disability benefits on this class, although I am going to do a webinar on them at some point soon. And then we're going to talk mainly about family benefits as they apply to spouses. So let's jump into the general rules when it comes to Social Security. Throughout this workshop, you're going to hear a few terms and abbreviations related to Social Security. The first one you're going to hear a good bit is FRA, that acronym. That stands for your full retirement age. And we're going to explain what your full retirement age, how they determine what your full retirement age is next. The second one is the PIA, the primary insurance amount. Basically, the PIA is really just the benefit amount that you're going to get at your full retirement age. And the next two are SSA, which I've already used a couple times. This gets into a habit. That stands obviously for the Social Security Administration. And then the COLA, COLA, which is, and that's actually said like Pepsi Cola or Coca-Cola. And that stands for the cost of living adjustment. So let's talk about how to determine your full retirement age. When the fund started, everyone's full retirement age was age 65. Then Congress decided we needed to push the full retirement age back to eventually be 67. But they made it where the largest block of folks born between 1943 and 1954 would have would all have the same full retirement age of 66. They did this in order to drag the process out for a while. And then everyone's full retirement age that was born between 1955 and 1959 would increase in 2-month intervals. The same was true for everyone born between 1938 and 1942. And finally, everyone who was born in or after 1960, like myself, 1967, would have a full retirement age of 67. So how do they determine how much our benefits are going to be? Well, first, they multiply your past earnings by an indexed factor in order to adjust them for inflation. Otherwise, if you were getting paid off of earnings you made 30 or 40 years ago, wouldn't be very fair. Secondly, they take the highest 35 years of those earnings. So let's say you've been working for 40 years. They're only going to count the highest 35 years. Those other 5 are going to be discarded. They're going to add them all together. So imagine if you took all the money you made in the highest 35 years and added it all up. It comes into the millions. Then they're going to divide it, to bring it down to earth, by 420, the number 420, which is the number of months in 35 years. The final number from this equation is referred to as the AME. I should have put that in the other acronyms, right? Another one, the AME, AIME. And this is, and this stands for the average indexed monthly earnings. That's what it's short for. This is not what determines what your benefit amount is, though. To determine your benefit amount, your AME is used in what is called a BEND, B-E-N-D system, which is a little too time consuming for this webinar for us to get into. I thought about showing it. I just said, no, it's just going to take up too much time. But it works a lot like our tax bracket system. I can say that. And all you really need to know for now is that the result of the BEND formula is what they refer to as your PIA, or primary insurance amount. And that's how they determine what your full retirement age Social Security benefit is. So here are the rules related to individual benefits under different circumstances. Collecting Social Security benefits before full retirement age will cause your benefits to be permanently reduced. See the percentages here on this graph. This chart shows how much the benefits will be reduced if your full retirement age is age 66. For the purpose of this class today, we will continue to use age 66 as the full retirement age. But if you change that full retirement age at all of these percentages change slightly. Collecting Social Security benefits after the full retirement age, your benefits are going to increase if your full retirement age is 66 by 8% per year until age 70. This is simple compounding on top of any COLA adjustment. The COLA adjustment will just increase the number. Of course, like I said, if you change the full retirement age, the percentages of the decreases and the increases on this chart of your benefit will change just slightly, respectively. So when it comes to working while collecting Social Security, these are the rules. Remember, Social Security benefits were intended to be supplemental retirement income. So the SSA really wants you to be retired when you collect them. Therefore, they're going to penalize you for collecting early if you're not actually retired. If you collect benefits early, you'll be subject to what's called the annual earnings test, which looks exclusively at your earnings every year before you reach your full retirement age. prior to full retirement age, if you earn more than the threshold amount of $18,960, that's the 2021 number, you're going to lose $1 of benefits for every $2 you earn over that threshold amount. Now, keep in mind, this is on top of already receiving a reduced benefit for the rest of your life. Although, in the year that you reach your full retirement age, a different rule applies. The threshold is $50,520, so it goes up a lot in the year you turn your full retirement age. And the rule is that you're going to then lose $1 for every $3 earned over that threshold. So the rule actually gets more lenient. Now, once you make it to the month in which you turn your full retirement age, and there's no more thresholds applied, you can earn as much as you want with no reduction in benefits anymore. And so, this applies to all Social Security benefits, not just worker benefits. Except Social Security disability. It applies to the individual benefits, the spousal benefits, the child benefits, survivor benefits that all are collected prior to full retirement age. Although you should also know that these penalized benefits are not kept permanently by Social Security, the Social Security Administration. They're actually returned back to you once you turn your full retirement age, but not in a lump sum. They're distributed evenly from the time you reach your full retirement age until you reach what the government sees as your life expectancy age. And they use mortality tables to figure out what that is. Remember, folks, if you have any questions related to any of these, I know I'm going kind of fast, just put the questions in the Q&A and we're going to get to them at the end. Rachel's going to read them out. So now, let's talk about spousal and survivor benefits. When it comes to spousal benefits today, the number one thing you must understand is the term deemed filing. You must understand what that means. It's actually pretty simple. What it means is if you were born after January 1st, 1954, when you file for your benefits, it's considered that you are filing for all the Social Security benefits that you are eligible for at the same time. So if you're eligible for both a worker benefit and a spousal benefit, then you are filing for both and will receive a combination of both in your benefit. This was not always the case. At one time, you could file for one and leave the other grow in the system until a later date, which was usually age 70 for many people. This allowed folks to more easily maximize their benefits. But that stopped as a result of the Bipartisan Budget Act of 2015. So, how does deemed filing work? Well, I'm going to get into this. It's a little convoluted. And ultimately, I'm going to simplify it, but I'm going to take a stab at explaining this. For the purpose of this, we're going to refer to our fictitious couple, Samantha and Jeremy, who you're going to hear a lot more about as we go on. And in this scenario, Jeremy is the higher earner who filed a worker's benefit, who's full retirement age, FRA combination. Primary insurance amount is $2,200. And Samantha is the lower earner who files a spousal benefit. When Samantha turns her benefit on, she's now required to take her spousal benefit, or what the SSA calls the spousal boost. at the same time because her spouse, Jeremy, is already receiving his own worker benefit. So let's say that Samantha's full retirement age benefit is $600. You see that in the middle, in the blue? If she collected at age 62, it would be reduced by 25% to $450. You see that on the left in the blue. If she waited until age 70, it would be increased by 32%, because remember, she's age 66, that's her full retirement age, to $792. Now, when you add her spousal benefit to the equation, you can then see how it gets a little tricky, because her maximum spousal benefit will never be more than 50% of Jeremy's worker full retirement age benefit, which was $2,200. So how does the SSA make sure that this happens with all claimants? By proclaiming that your own worker benefit and your spousal benefit are not what they call aggregated, but rather what they call coordinated. Aggregating meaning they're not separate. Coordinated meaning that they're all really one. Nice terminology, right? To mix it all up. Convenient. That means that Samantha's spousal benefit at its core is only ever going to be worth a maximum of $1,100, which means if she collects her spousal benefit at her full retirement age, along with her own benefit, she'll add an additional $500 of spousal benefits to her own worker benefit of $600 for a total of what? $1,100, or 50% of Jeremy's PIA. If she files for her Social Security benefits at age 62, her spousal benefit will be reduced by 30% to $350 for a combined worker and spousal benefit total of $800. You see that on the left, the total? On the other hand, if she waits until age 70 to file for her Social Security benefits, even though her worker benefit will increase by 32% to $792, her spousal benefit is actually reduced to $308. It's the only situation where the spousal benefit will actually get reduced. This is because $1,100 is all that they will pay her if her own worker benefit is less than 50% of Jeremy's worker benefit. Did I confuse everybody enough? Right? At the end result of this convoluted formula is that Samantha will receive as a spousal benefit no more than 50% of Jeremy's full retirement age primary insurance amount. Also, it's important to note that you cannot file for spousal benefits unless your spouse has already filed for their individual worker benefit first. We call this opening up the window for a spousal benefit to be filed. Also, there's a few more details you should understand when it comes to spousal benefits. First, you have to take your spousal benefits at your full retirement age in order to receive the full 50% of your spouse's full retirement age benefit, worker benefit. Second, you have to be at least age 62 in order to qualify to receive a spousal benefit. And of course, at that age, it will be reduced by 30%. Third, you must be married at least 12 consecutive months to be entitled to it. So even if you were 62 years old or 63 years old and you just got married, you're not going to be eligible to file a benefit on your spouse's work record for 12 months until you're 64. So that's something you really need to understand. Next, when you file, if you're eligible for both a worker and a spousal benefit, the end result is that you will receive the higher of the two. Meaning, if your worker benefit is higher than your spousal benefit, that 50%, you're going to receive the worker benefit. If it's lower than that 50%, you're going to receive that spousal benefit. But really, they consider the spousal benefit a combination of your own worker benefit and the spousal boost of your spousal benefit. Let's just, for now, just call it 50% of your spousal benefit. The last, finally, if your spouse were to pass away while you were still married, you have to be married at least 9 months to receive a widow or widower's benefit on your spouse's work record. The only exceptions to that are if he or she passes as a result of an accident or from active military duty. So when it comes to divorced spousal benefits, you have to have been married for at least 10 years in that situation. You have to be currently unmarried to collect them, but your ex-spouse can actually be married. Doesn't matter. You and your ex-spouse must be age 62 or older. Meaning, if you're older than your ex-spouse, say you're 62 and he or she is 59, you can't file for that spousal benefit on their work record until they turn 62. I have quite a few clients that are in that situation. Next, if you're divorced for less than 2 years, then your ex-spouse must be receiving either a retirement or disability Social Security benefits for you to be even eligible to receive a spousal benefit. But if you're divorced for 2 years or more, your ex-spouse does not need to be collecting any Social Security benefits at all, and you will still be eligible. Now, this is for divorced survivor spousal benefits. Right? You got to really be able to differentiate between all these. This is a situation where your ex-spouse passes away after you were already divorced, not while you were married. Okay, pretty simple. You have to have been married, just like the other one, to your deceased ex-spouse for at least 10 years. Next, you must be at least age 60 to collect it, or age 50 if you're disabled. Again, that will be a reduced benefit, and it will actually be reduced greater than a worker benefit is at age 62. So you got to be ready for that. Finally, after age 60, you can be unmarried or you can be married and be eligible. Again, it's a reduced benefit, but you have to be married after you turn age 60. So that's important. Now, let's take a look at some advanced filing strategies so you can see for yourself how your benefits could be increased by timing and planning to file them at certain strategic times. Before we discuss some different strategies to consider, let me state just a few bullet points though. First, remember that since Social Security claims reps are not allowed to give you advice to help you maximize your benefits, you have to create your own plan to do it. Second, if you're part of a family where multiple people, and sometimes it's not just a spouse, it could be children as well involved. are eligible for benefits. It will give you a greater opportunity to maximize your benefits if that's the situation. If you can coordinate the timing of how they are all implemented at the various times. Third, to really fine tune a plan to get every penny out of the system, you can't be thinking in terms of taking your benefits at the standard exact ages of 62, 66, 67, or 70. That's called inside the box thinking, and it won't produce you a maximum benefit situation 99% of the time. Also, you have to micromanage the benefits by taking into consideration all the various benefit types that each person is eligible for, and the combination of all 96 months that each person is eligible in, and then combine each person's optimal months for each benefit available to them together to find the combination that will produce the maximum amount received overall. This is what we call situational Social Security, or out of the box thinking. Remember, I said that. Remember, I said that. Out of the box thinking. It takes a little doing, which is probably why 90% of the people don't do it. But believe me, it's worth it, especially over your lifetime. And again, don't rely on claims reps to help you. It's not going to happen. One other thing for you to consider prior to creating your plan is whether you or your spouse were born prior to January 1st, 1954. Remember, I said that. If you were, then you have an option that others born later don't have anymore. This is because, like I mentioned before, in 2015, the Bipartisan Budget Act was passed by Congress, and it began a phase-out process for 2 of the 5 claiming choices that were available at that time. The first was the file and suspend strategy that got phased out pretty quickly. It ended on April 29, 2016. It was available to allow claimants to choose between taking either their worker benefit or spousal benefit separately and leaving one of them to grow until a later date, regardless of whether their spouse had filed for benefits yet. The second is still available to some people, but will be completely phased out once everyone that was born on or before January 1st, 1954 has turned age 70. It's called a restricted application, and it allows you to claim a spousal benefit off your spouse's work record while leaving your own worker benefit to still earn what they call delayed retirement credit. So that increase 8% or whatever it is based on what your full retirement age is until age 70, if you'd like to do that. Although this strategy is only available to people born on or before that magic date, if you were, you should definitely give this some serious thought when it comes to creating your own personal Social Security strategy. So let's finally meet Jeremy and Samantha, our fictitious married couple planning out their Social Security benefits. Jeremy is the higher wage earner, and they both have a full retirement age of 66, which means that they were both born before January 1st, 1954. Keep that in mind. If both collected at age 62, Jeremy would receive his own reduced monthly benefit of $1,650. That's a 25% reduction from his full retirement PIA, which is $2,200. Samantha would receive her own reduced monthly benefit of $450, which is also a 25% reduction. In addition to her $350 spousal benefit, which is reduced by 30%. She'll receive that until Jeremy passes away. In this situation, it's at age 65. That's important. The expected life expectancy for the scenario is important. When Jeremy passes away at 75, Samantha in this situation would be eligible to receive his $1,650 for a survivor benefit. That's because her benefit would stop. She's going to get the greater of the two, and hers was $800. At the end of the day, they receive at the end of both of their life expectancies. And in this scenario, Samantha's is age 82. $550,200 from the Social Security system throughout their lifetime. Not bad. Cool. $500,000. Let's talk about some other options. Had Samantha and Jeremy both waited until their full retirement age, Jeremy would receive his full retirement age monthly benefit of $2,200. Samantha will receive her full retirement age monthly benefit of $600 and that additional $500 of spousal benefits. When Jeremy passes away, Samantha again would receive his benefit, which is in this case $2,200 as a survivor benefit. Now, even though they received benefits for a lesser period of time, because they received higher amounts, they actually received $580,800 back, which is roughly $30,000 difference from collected at age 62. So certainly is the better option between the two. Now, let's look at age 70. Had Samantha and Jeremy waited until age 70, they would have only received total amount out for their life expectancies, which is 75 for him and 82 for her. Again, in this scenario, $532,224. So it's certainly not the best option. So when you don't have longevity, Jeremy in this case only lives until age 65, waiting to age 70 may not always be in your best interest. That's why it's suggested that you always consider your potential life expectancy along with different age and benefit combinations to see which will provide you with the greatest amount of benefits and flexibility under different circumstances. Now, we're going to get into what we call situational Social Security. What if the lower earner, in this case, Samantha, started collecting at age 62, but Jeremy waits now until age 66. Since Jeremy has not filed at first, Samantha would only receive her worker benefit because she's not eligible for a spousal benefit until he files. Many times, this is a really good strategy for a lower earning spouse to use, while the higher earner spouse waits until their full retirement age or later. Plus, if the higher earner was born by the magic date, which is January 1st, 1954, remember that, they could even file a restricted application at their full retirement age and receive a spousal benefit while their worker benefit keeps growing as much as 32%. In the scenario here, in the scenario shown here, Samantha begins collecting a reduced benefit of $450 at age 62. Jeremy decides to file his individual benefit at age 66, which is $2,200. And in turn, Samantha is now eligible and begins receiving that additional $500 spousal benefit because Jeremy filed at age 66. That's when that'll kick in for her. Also, because she's at her full retirement age, when she begins the spousal benefits, that portion is not reduced anymore like it would be in the age 62 scenario. At the end of the day, by using the strategy shown here Jeremy and Samantha collect $584,400 from Social Security throughout their lifetime, which is greater than what they would have received at their inside the box ages of 62, 66, and 70. This is a result of using situational Social Security or out of the box claiming strategy. Now, let's add longevity to the mix. If Jeremy lives to 85 and Samantha 92, this strategy no longer provides the largest amount of benefits. The best option for Jeremy and Samantha in this case would be for them both to begin collecting at age 70, where they would collect almost 50,000 more throughout their lifetime, opposed to the strategy that would have worked best for them had they not had longevity on their side. In fact, with longevity on their side, them both taking their benefits at their full retirement age, in this situation would also work out to be slightly better than them for them as well, producing an additional $14,000 or $14,400 more. Again, you can see here why it's important to look at several different scenarios and to do your best to apply what you think is more likely to prevail in your situation, hence situational Social Security. So to mix things up a little, let's look at another strategy where both of their benefits of their spousal benefits are actually less than their worker benefits. Here, Jeremy decides to wait to collect his benefit at full retirement age, which gives Samantha the choice of collecting her own worker benefit, which in this case would be $1,400, or her spousal benefit of $1,100. If she chooses to collect her spousal benefit, she must file a restricted application, which we know she's eligible for in this scenario, which would allow her own worker benefit to continue to grow up to age 70, if she's so inclined. Then she can switch to her increased worker benefit of $1,848. Whoop. As you can see, Jeremy and Samantha both start collecting at age 66, but notice the difference filing a restricted application makes for Samantha, as opposed to filing off her own work benefit at full retirement age. It's a difference of $72,000. Of course, this strategy won't work if Samantha doesn't file a restricted application, because the Social Security Administration will automatically compare the individual benefits, her worker benefit and her spousal benefit, and pay her only the higher of the two benefits. And it cannot work if Samantha and Jeremy decide to file their claims before their full retirement age either, because can only file a restricted application at your full retirement age. So also notice, if they both wait till age 70 to collect, this will maximize their benefits throughout their lifetime even more, providing them with $1.15 million, which is roughly $36,000 more than the strategy shown here. Note also, Samantha must be born on or by January 1st, 1954 to file that restricted application. And even though claiming that strategy these days is decreasing in usage, it's still available to the majority of folks out there today. Okay, one last scenario. Another time to potentially switch between benefits is when a widow or a widower is entitled to survivor benefits and has a good sized worker benefit of their own. In many cases, folks like Jeremy and Samantha might compare their worker benefits to their survivor benefit and just do what seems most logical and collect the higher of the two benefits, which is what most people do. However, the best way to maximize their benefit would be to start collecting one and then switch to the other at age 70. So it can grow that 8% per year for those extra 4 years. So in this scenario, if it was Samantha, she would collect her survivor benefit at age 60. Thus, by receiving a reduced survivor benefit for the first 10 years collecting, she allows her worker benefit to grow all the way up to age 70. Then at age 70, she begins collecting her worker benefit, which is grown to $2,904. That's 132% of what her full retirement age survivor benefit was going to be. Using this strategy could boost her lifetime income around $200,000. It also allows her to collect just under $1 million throughout her lifetime. Show of hands. I want to see this, Rachel, in there, in the chat. Just say yay or nay. How many of you folks could use an extra $200,000 in retirement? Come on. Anybody put it in there, Rachel? I hope so. It also allows her to collect this. I can just tell you this, okay? That extra 200,000, I certainly could use it, and I'd be more than willing to take yours if you don't want it. Promise you that. Okay. So the big question for you folks on this webinar today is, how can this work for you? Which is, of course, why many of you chose to attend this workshop today. So here are my thoughts on when it comes to that. And it's also why I decided to extend a pretty good offer out to all you today. These recommendations are for all you do-it-yourselfers out there like myself. First, I would without a doubt seek out some more advanced education on the topic of Social Security and Social Security planning, because there's quite a few rules that apply to each of the type of election choices and the various benefits that Social Security offers. Hey, I would read some Social Security related books. Go to Amazon and search the word Social Security planning books. Believe me, a plethora will come up. Or you could possibly take an online class. The National Social Security Advisors have several good ones. You would go to www.premiernssa.com. Put that in the chat box, Rachel. Just put Premier, P-R-E-M-I-E-R, NSSA.com. Now, the second recommendation, I highly recommend investing into a good Social Security planning software. There are several great ones. Several great ones out there today. Some of the ones I've used. We're going to put this in the, we'll put this in the chat box as well at the end. Maximize My Social Security is one of them. Social Security Timing is another one. And Social Security Visualizer are just a few of the more affordable ones that I've used. Finally, if these first two recommendations are not an option for you, then I recommend that you seek out a good Social Security advisor to consult with and to assist you with your Social Security planning. You can even contact Mark Kiner, that's M-A-R-C-K-I-N-E-R, at the NSSA to ask him to refer you to one in your area. So folks, that concludes our workshop for today. But before we move on to our 10-question quiz and to answering any questions that you have, I'd like to extend some offers to you, to everyone on our webinar right now. I have 3 Social Security planning packages that we currently offer our clients. The first is a Social Security online application assistance package. Currently valued at $249 is what we charge. We're offering that for anybody who will purchase that by the end of today, 12 p.m. We're offering a 50% off discount. The discounted price is $124. This is for people who are not necessarily interested in maximizing or personalizing their Social Security benefits, but would like to get some general information about Social Security and how it works so that they can file their claim with confidence. It's also for anyone who would prefer to file their claim online as opposed to going into the Social Security office to file. The package includes a 1-hour consultation to discuss any questions related to your personal Social Security circumstance and one-on-one assistance following your Social Security benefits online together. Also, includes any future advice related to any and all of your Social Security, Medicare, and long-term care questions that you might have. All you have to do is call us. I have 2 offers for each one of the 3 main offers that we're offering you tonight. First, if you choose to pay for this package today, before the end of the day, before midnight tonight, we're going to offer you 50% off of our usual price. Like I said, $249, or a discounted price of $124. Or if you're like me and like to think about things more before you make a purchase, then if you purchase this in the next 72 hours, we're offering you 30% off. So the discounted price would then be $174. Our next offer is a Social Security maximization package, currently valued at $449 for 50% off or at a discounted price of $224. This package is for people who want to get all their Social Security questions answered and are most interested in finding out what the recommended strategies are to maximize their Social Security benefits. It basically will provide you with an upfront Social Security consultation, analysis, and Social Security maximization plan that will compare different preferred strategies to an optimal or recommended strategy. This package does not integrate your personal financial situation, but it gives you the information that you need to do so yourself. It's perfect, again, for those do-it-yourselfers like me that are more inclined to figure out these types of things for themselves. It includes a review of your Social Security earnings and benefit statement, a calculation of your Social Security break-even point for each viable Social Security strategy, a comparison of your Social Security benefits before and after full retirement age, a determination of when the best time is for you to apply for your Social Security benefits, the identification of whose account your Social Security benefits should be based on, either yourself, your spouse, your ex-spouse, or a deceased spouse, etc. A complete review of your unique issues, either divorce, widow, remarried, child-related situations, etc. A review of your Social Security options, showing how you increase your monthly Social Security benefits over your lifetime, and a general discussion of Medicare, Parts A, B, C, and D. instructions on how to apply online for your Social Security benefits, and it addresses any follow-up questions and consultation you may need until you have fully implemented your plan. If you choose today before midnight, you'll get 50% off or a discounted price of $224. If you choose in the next 72 hours, you'll get 30% off for a discounted price of $314. Our final offer is a Social Security personalization package, currently valued at $849, but this will be at a 60% off. Will be for 60% off or a discounted price of $339. This package is ideal for anyone who'd like to create a Social Security strategy that has been integrated with their own personal situation and is created by first assembling your personal information, i.e. your fixed and potential sources of income, and your fixed, non-fixed, and future one-time potential expenses. Then it integrates several Social Security strategy options with your personal information into a retirement planning software and stress tests each scenario against different potential inflation, life, and economic stressors in order to find out which Social Security strategy option will work best for your personal situation. This package is really for anyone who has a preferred age or Social Security strategy that they'd like to implement, but does not know if their preferred plan for retirement or for maximizing their benefits would like to know if it would work best with their personal situation. This plan includes all of the same details and elements that is given in the Social Security maximization package, except it adds to that the integration of all your personal income and expense information and analysis of your potential income sources in retirement to determine how much it can be relied on, and the identification of whether your preferred Social Security claiming timing can be successful, and the custom analysis comparing both your preferred and optimal Social Security strategies when integrated into your own overall financial plan. So if you choose this today, it's 60% off or $338, or in the next 72 hours, 30% off or $594. I'm also going to include a throw-in offer for anybody who chooses the maximization or personalization plan today. I'm going to offer them the first offer with it combined. It has the value of $249, the online application for assistance. So we'll also help you file for the benefit online as well. The total value and discount for the maximization package and the online application assistance package together, it's 68% off. We originally charged $698, or the discounted price is $224. And for the personalization package and online application assistance, it's a 70% discount. We normally charge $1,098, and we're offering it for the discounted price of $338. That all being said, the link here, Rachel's going to put up a link right now. And that link is going to be the link you're going to go to if you're interested in the 50% discounted package of any of these types. In that link, you're going to see that there's functionality for you to pay for it either via Venmo, PayPal, or through credit card. It also offers an option where PayPal will lend you the money and you can pay them over time, if that's what you so wish, for each of the strategies. So after you get this, at the end of this workshop, you're going to receive an email from us, and that is going to have a link in it for anybody who purchased their package tonight to our calendar, where they can set up the first appointment theirself for us to get the process started. It's also going to have a link there that's going to take anybody, for anybody who has any questions about anything that we covered tonight, even the packages, whatever, before they want to commit. They can set up a 15-minute phone Q&A session with me to discuss any questions they have before they commit. And we're also going to offer you still, if you book that tonight, a discounted price, probably in between the 30 and 50%, around 40%. We haven't made a decision, but that's what we're leaning to, 40% if you book that tonight. Anyway, you're going to receive that email after we're over. So now that you have our packages, you can click on that link and do that as we go through our quiz. So just to see if everybody was paying attention, I know that was a whole heck of a lot of information. It almost feel bad about having to push it that hard, and we're going over a little bit in time. First question: what year did the Social Security system go into effect? Rachel, I want you to let me know what the answers are, because the first person who gets it right is going to win a $10 gift card.
All right, it's coming in fast. Hold on. Let's see, it looks like the first one to put it in was Larry Krasley.
Larry Krasley. Larry's one of my clients and one of my favorite people in the world. How's it going out there, Larry? Awesome to see you on tonight. Larry knows a lot about all of these and all of these things we've talked about tonight. Good job, Larry. So put your email address in. I got your email address, Larry. We don't have to worry about that. We'll send you that. All you have to do is email me where you'd like us to send you, where you'd like us to get the $10 gift card was. I was going to pick it for you. Dunkin' Donuts, Amazon. I figure heck with it. Whole Foods Cafe. Rachel would probably choose that one, right? Put it in and we'll get it and send it to you. Second question: what year did Social Security, by the way, it was 1937, Larry put in, and that was the correct one, because I'm seeing here quite a few people put in 1935, 1945. So they were close, but that's the correct one. So what year did Social Security benefits start being taxed? Come on.
We've got a couple answers in, but they're up. There we go. Let's see, who was that? Fran. Very good. You got 1983. That was the correct answer.
Yes, 1983 under President Reagan. That's correct. Third question: how much in total benefits were paid out in 1937, the first year of the fund?
looks like, oh, I think the Larry Krasley got that one too.
Well, I actually see Fran here, and I hate to say this, but I did mention one. It's actually upwards of 1.3 million. I did mention that.
I'll put 1.2 on there. Okay.
And I'm sorry about that, Larry. I did say that because it's actually it was actually like 1.37, but I mentioned that it was actually closer to 1.3. So we're going to have to give that to Fran on this one, right?
Right.
Fran, send us back your email address. Okay. In what year did total benefits being paid out surpass $1 trillion? Ah, I'm actually looking at them too, right?
You got it, yeah.
2019, it was Bob got the first one. So write that down, Rachel.
I got it, I'm keeping track.
Bob, send us your email address. And where you guys send us where you would like your $10 gift card to be from. Okay, we're going to step it up a little here. It's going to get a little harder. What is the full name of the social? Remember I said, remember this. What is the full name of the Social Security Trust Fund? Anybody gets this, I'm going to be, I hope they do. You can Google it. Okay. We're going to give up on that one. Oh, wait. Federal old age. Yes. You're almost there. And federal old age, and it's got half of it. Okay, we're going to get back to that one. What is the only type of securities that the Social Security Trust Fund can invest in? Yes, Treasury, U.S. Treasury.
All right, that's Bob again.
All right. How long does someone need to be married to collect a spousal benefit? I knew people were going to say 10 years. But it's actually 12 months, 1 year. It's 10 years if you're divorced or if it's a survivor. I knew that was going to be a little bit of a tricky one. But if you're still married, remember I said someone 63 could get married to someone else who's 63, but they won't be able to file a spousal benefit for a year until they're age 64. All right. How long does someone need to be married to collect a spousal, or no, I read the same one. No, I'm good. How long does someone need to be married to collect a divorce spousal benefit? I gave that away. 10 years, Robin. Good one.
All right.
All right, number 9. What date does someone need to be born by to file a restricted application? Remember I said, remember this, the date. Yes, January 1st, 1954. Yes. Bob got that one too. Okay, guys, you won one already. We're going to give this one too. Looks like that's grandmom. We're going to give this one too. Patsy Hammett. Okay, last question. What type of thinking is the concept of situational Social Security considered? What type of thinking? Remember? Outside the box. Larry, oh, Robin, you put it in the box. So it looks like Larry got that one. All right, that's our quiz. Let's see, are there any questions? We can go through them real quick and then we'll get out of here. I wanted to give you guys enough time to look at the link and to, if you're interested in that 50% package, to purchase.
Okay. Okay, so one question here is can you apply for a spousal benefit while your spouse is living? Is the question. You see that?
Yes. Well, of course you can. The problem is you can't file unless they file their benefit first. They have to file a worker benefit in order to open up the window for a spousal benefit to be available. So of course, yes, while they're living, you can, but they have to have an active claim.
Okay, let's see, another one. Can I file for my spousal benefit and leave my own benefit grow?
Yes, you absolutely can do that. The problem is you have to be born by the magic date, January 1st, 1954, in order to have that strategy available to you still. Okay. And your spouse has to opened up the window and filed a worker's claim. Those two things have to be in place for you to be able to do that. All right, folks. So we're going to wrap it up tonight. Again, Rachel put that link up there. I just want to tell you that link's only going to be good to midnight tonight. After that, the link is going to change to the 30% discount. You also have an opportunity when you get the thank you email, follow-up email from this webinar, probably around 9 o'clock tonight. You have an opportunity to book a 15-minute Q&A with me to discuss any questions you have about things in general or even about the various packages. So there you have it. Thank you for attending. I hope you found some value in this today. And we're looking forward to you guys all coming back again next month. Have a great night.
Night.